Welcome back to the channel. So for today's video, I want to do a quick overview of the Final Fantasy games that I have in my collection. I tried my best to put them in chronological, like in terms of the number. So you can see I have Final Fantasy 7 and 8 remastered for the Switch on the first in the line. And then I have Crisis Core, Final Fantasy 7 Reunion, and then we have Final Fantasy 7 Remake Intergrade, Final Fantasy 10 and 10-2, and then Final Fantasy 12, the Zodiac Age, and then my latest pickup, which is Final Fantasy 16. It is the deluxe edition, so I have both the steel bookcase and the deluxe edition box on there. But I'm gonna quickly talk about my experiences with the game, my opinions, and just as a warning, well, I guess not really a warning, but just to let you guys know, some of these I did not play like fully or even at all, to be honest, besides like going through the first I guess opening scenes. So I will have to be honest when I'm trying to talk about my thoughts on the games. Starting out with Final Fantasy 7 and Final Fantasy 8 remastered. I'm not gonna lie, these are one of the few games that I have not really played past the opening scenes. I did buy this just to kind of add it to the collection and play in the future. I haven't got around to playing it just yet. These are classics, and I just felt like because I have a Switch, I wanted to make sure I added them to my collection. But I guess I can play them and then give my thoughts after. But for now, I just kind of have them in the collection. Moving on to Crisis Core, Final Fantasy 7 Reunion. I did buy this after falling in love with the Final Fantasy 7 remake. I've played a few hours into the game. It's decent, it's pretty good. But after playing Final Fantasy 7, in the remake at least, the combat is kind of slow and kind of not as engaging in my opinion. That could be an unpopular opinion, I'm not sure. But I know a lot of fans love this game. So I did buy it to complete the remake series for Final Fantasy 7 because I am going to buy the other two parts for the remake. But yeah, the game is fun. It is outdated. It is a remake of a game that originally was on PSP, I think. But the game is cool. It's mostly I bought it to get the story. Not so I can't really say I can't really critique it too hard. It's a pretty good game so far, at least like about 5 hours in. But I'm gonna complete it, and if you want a full review, I can do that. But for now, I'm just gonna say it's a solid game. It's probably would be better to play it before playing Final Fantasy 7 Remake. Now going to Final Fantasy 7 Remake Intergrade, I have to say this is one of my most favorite Final Fantasies I've played out of all of them. And I've played a decent amount of them, so that's saying a lot. This game's really good. The story is great. It's good for both people who've played the original and people who haven't. It looks stunning. The pacing of the story is pretty good. Side quests are decent, and overall I just love like the combat system and just getting to know the characters on a deeper level, which was really cool. And yeah, I would say this is definitely up there, top 5 games I've played so far. So yeah, moving on to Final Fantasy 10 and 10-2. I've only played about 4 hours in Final Fantasy 10. It's kind of another game that I just bought to put into my collection. I will say, having played a lot of the other more new Final Fantasies, this one's a little hard to play because it's outdated. And I am a little bit, I guess, spoiled by the real life, or not the real life, the real time fighting and combat. So the turn-based is a little hard to keep up nowadays in terms of like with all the quality of life changes to Final Fantasies. But from the 4 or 5 hours I've played, the story is pretty good. I will say that. Like it's captivating enough for me to want to finish the game. It's just I don't have a lot of time to finish and complete all these games. So for now, I just have it in the collection. But I will eventually play this game, and 10-2 I literally haven't touched, so I can't say too much about that, but I've heard mixed reviews on it. So for Final Fantasy 12, this is another game that I really have closely, regarded as one of the best games I've played. I played the original PS2 version. I've put so many hours into it. I've beaten it multiple times. And I have to say, Final Fantasy 12 Zodiac Age is really good because they didn't really touch the story at all, and they just made the game more modern and have better quality of life changes. And it did kind of change it with the job system, but that's not a bad change, and I definitely appreciate the game. It looks really good, and yeah, I love the story, the characters, and the combat's still pretty good, even though it is more of a real-time type of combat, but it does kind of share the turn-based system a little bit. And then my newest pickup, which I'm about 6 hours in, is Final Fantasy 16. The game looks stunning. I do have some minor complaints about the game, which probably a lot of people share. One being that it drops frames all the time. Two, it has motion blur, which is a little annoying. You can't turn it off. But the game is pretty engaging. The story is really fun. The combat is one of the best in the series. I cannot emphasize that enough. And yeah, the game is really good so far. Like I'm about 7 hours in. So I don't know how long the game is per se because I didn't want to look up spoilers, but this game is definitely really good so far, and I highly recommend anyone who's a fan to pick up this game. I don't know if everyone knows this, but Final Fantasies always are a separate story, so you can literally pick up any of these games and you don't have to play anyone before it or after to understand it, besides the ones that are like, I guess, Crisis Core, or like the ones that have sequels and stuff like that. Yes, you do, but in terms of like the actual games itself, you don't have to play anything preceding it. So I would recommend anyone trying to complete the collection for Final Fantasy to pick all these up. I will eventually have every single Final Fantasy in my collection, but for now, these are the ones I have right now. And yeah, if you plan on picking any of these up, make sure to use my link in the description. It helps out the channel, and I hope to see you on another upload.